This morning, I saw an article that was of a particular interest of mine, which is apparently people that are millennials and Gen Z are now switching back to flip phones um, as a means of improving their mental health. Um, in essence, what this is that they find that smartphones with the constant notifications, with the constant emails, the apps, having to be on Twitter all the time, having to live their life basically in this virtual world, um, has taken a great strain on them, just on their mental health, on everything. It's caused a lot more stress than it's brought them happiness, and so they've decided to switch back to flip phones, to sort of reject modern, I guess, social media in a sense, to go back to where things were maybe 20 years ago in a sense, focusing more on real life relationships, focusing more on their real present life, not the virtual avatars that they've kind of created. Uh, I loved it. I loved reading it. I loved it. For those that don't know, up until about last year, I think it was last December, when was thinking about maybe doing this channel, I had a flip phone. Up until when I was like, all right, I'm gonna upload videos to YouTube, I had a flip phone, and then basically when I decided to do this YouTube thing here, obviously you can't record things on a flip phone and upload it. It's just not gonna work. Um, but yeah, for a lot of years I had a flip phone, and it felt awesome. It felt great to be able to. I mean, it was a great conversation starter just in general. Like it was fun to go to bars and take it out at bars and have people ask questions. It was great. I could go out like on a street corner, have a smoke, open my cell phone up, basically, and people would ask questions. It was great. Very 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 good way to meet people is to have something very unique like that. But anyways, the point is not to say like, "Hey, I told you so," or basically like that, right? It's whatever. It's I'm happy now that the culture has moved back, that the pendulum is now swinging in the other direction here. Um, it's great, I think, just in general, but on a very deeper level, this could be very very important for authors. Um, there's a movement now to live your life more presently. There is a movement now to spend less time on social media, to be more within the world, to be, I guess, like a technological reductionist. Um, and with that, that poses a unique opportunity, I think, for authors that are now emerging into the field. For so long, I think the writing business, the novel itself, basically was dying because our attention spans were shorter. Because you have TikTok and you have all these apps basically, but they're very very short content, right? Very quick content, and you're just getting fed constantly. Um, and I think it was affecting attention spans to the point where people couldn't sit down and read books. From what I read, basically, I think people were saying that, like, unless they go to movie theaters, I guess like most Americans, unless they went to movie theaters, they couldn't actually sit in their home and like like watch an entire movie, like basically at their home without checking their phone. Like they have to be like in a theater to do it, like some other environment. They can't do it in their home environment. Their attention span has just been shot like that badly. Um, and so if this trend continues, if we are to see people revert back to maybe where things were maybe a decade, or I mean, well over a decade at this point, if you're using a flip phone, I mean, we go back to maybe where things were in like the early 2000s, that bodes very very well for books and for novels, because the idea would be, or at least my hope is, people tend to start going back to old hobbies. To start, when I say old hobbies, I mean hobbies that require time and quietness alone. Hobbies that require a certain sense of just distraction that is not technological. And the novel and books tend to be a big one, or it kind of used to be, right? Um, before before cell phones, yeah, I mean, reading was obviously already dying. I mean, people talk about the death of the novel for over 100 years now. People said the novel's been dying, but we obviously had more readers before then, before um, we went to this sort of this all online, all social media all the time um, style. And I think with this reduction, with people coming back to being more focused and focusing on being more present, people that want to live their lives in the immediate experience, I think books will become far more appealing. I think as a hobby, it will become much more enjoyable. And it poses a very, very interesting scenario for us. This could be maybe the first time in a very long period of time where reading maybe picks up, or more people read more than before. The average American, I think, reads 2 books a year, and I'm quite certain that survey is skewed. I'm sure there are many people who just who will say that just so they don't look like a moron to the interviewer, right? Like, you have some people that they'll just be like, yeah, I read whatever. Yeah, I read 2 books a year. Meanwhile, you haven't read like in 3 years. You haven't read since high school, whatever. Um, it's possible. It's possible that this now turns around, that we maybe have a new win on this front, with this kind of movement to go back to the old ways, which is sad to say that something like 20 years ago is considered old ways now, but I guess maybe it is. We'll see. We'll see. But this is an awesome development. This is some great news, I think, on this front. I think no one should be sad that this is happening. I think collectively we should all be very, very happy that we're going to spend more, potentially, we have a society that's going to focus now more on their real lives and less on their social ones.